you become naked also. If you want to be able to have those powerful experiences with other people and with nature, and to receive the gifts that come back to you through attention, then you must choose to put your attention on those other beings. If you're looking at somebody and you're putting your attention on thoughts, such as, what is he thinking? Is this okay? Have I been looking at her too long? What's going on here? Am I okay? Like, these things come up very strongly. You may find yourself raising your eyebrows, making little grimaces and smiles, you know, just to somehow protect yourself. And it's okay to do that, you know, to notice that happening, because that's something that we're outgrowing very quickly. So, we're getting close to lunch, and I want to offer you two things. I want to offer you the opportunity to let's do lunch first. To give the gift of attention to your food, and see what kind of gifts you get back. Amazing. The incredible pleasure that's available in food. You just give it a little bit more attention. I don't want to have lunch like monks, though. All right. So I'm not going to suggest this thing where we eat in silence and give full attention to food for that long. I would like to invite you just to maybe 10 or 15 times during your meal, just to take 10 seconds to fully enjoy a bite of food. And then maybe your attention wants to go somewhere else too. To another person, to your body, to a delicious thought that you're having. Like, this doesn't have to be a rigorous, hard spiritual practice. Okay? That's another thing that I'm through with. The second thing, after lunch, go out and give the gift of attention to another being. Later on, we're going to do this with each other, too. But after lunch, go out into nature and give your attention to an animal, or a tree, or a small plant, an insect, and don't make it difficult. Don't make it complicated. It's just completely giving your attention to it. Like we were doing with those things, and this is actually will help us as kind of a build-up to it, but this time you're actually doing it with the spirit of the gift. So just give your attention fully, and you'll sense that that being loves it. The tree just loves it. Human beings are very special. The rest of the world, all other beings like attention from humans better than they like attention from anything else. And there's a reason for that I won't go into too much. But it has to do with the fact that we're the pinnacle of individuation and separation. So we're the God outside looking in. I can't really articulate it because it just came to me today.
Could you say it one more time, though?
We're more highly individuated. Our consciousness is more, because of the separation, we're able to provide something from the outside. Whereas nature is more, the consciousness is more diffuse. You know, like, it's not as individuated. But anyway, but whatever you look at, you'll sense that being. I often do it with trees, you know, just basking in that attention. And it really is a gift. This gift is much, much better than scattering cornmeal or tobacco. The reason that they do that is as an agent of focusing your attention. okay?
Oh, yes.
That's why those ceremonies, those rituals are used. But we don't need that. Right. Right, right. And so you're just going to be this giver of attention, and you'll find a being that you really want to give that attention to. And wanting to is enough. You don't need to try to figure out who needs it the most. Trust desire. Yeah, and this goes for humans too. Trust desire. Trust desire, trust desire, trust desire. And so just go out and do that, and perhaps you will experience a small miracle or a large miracle. And perhaps it will be something that you will share, perhaps it won't be.
I have a meta comment. Just about what happened, it feels to me there was something very powerful that happened during the whole exercises, and I went up to Bill and told him about it after, and I got getting choked down by when I said it. So when I get those feelings, it's usually something that's probably true. And what I think was happening was we were actually making a transformation to another level, kind of in spiral dynamics, whatever, there's different schemes. And what was happening was that, and you know, like the last blocks, I was actually kind of getting a little sleepy because it was hard to, and other people were reacting in different ways. I think what's happening is the worldview was breaking open a little bit, like you're being asked to step back and look at something that you thought was everything that you knew, and actually making space for something bigger, because you thought you were that opinion or whatever it was. And Robert Keegan, this developmental psychologist at Harvard, has put it at each developmental state, the subject at one state becomes the object. So you are your emotions at one point, and if you step back and look at your emotions, you realize, oh, you're not just your emotions. And then for meditation, sometimes your mind, you'd be able to see that you thought everything was the mind, you're able to step back and you're able to watch your thoughts from afar.
Yeah.
What we were doing was we were actually being asked to step back and look at something a little bit bigger, and it was very difficult for all of us, and it was really difficult for me. And we weren't able to hold the circle broke up, I think, because it was all of us weren't quite. We were kind of trying to do this together, but it was very powerful because I think we were making a transition to the next, to something bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Let's join hands. And keep your eyes open. Today we are in the space between stories. Space of what's just there. It's good to touch back on that space sometimes. Otherwise, we get lost in the story, which is what's happened to humanity. Lost in abstractions, lost in symbols. Bombing babies and calling it collateral damage. Manipulating numbers on maps. Moving pieces across the risk board. But no more. That story is ending. For us, it has ended. It has already ended. And we're creating a new story. And the new story will be grounded and kept honest by frequently visiting the truth. Today, let's abide in that empty spot.